So you were always like this.
BuzzFeed is a pretty infamous company, most famous for when it's your birthday and you cope about how old you are, it'll come up with amazing lists like things you can do when you're 20, things you can do when you're 25, things you can do when you're 30, which at that point is probably signing a will. And you might remember going back nearly a decade ago, which is horrifying to think about, I made countless BuzzFeed videos because making videos ribbing on BuzzFeed was basically an infinite money glitch in GTA 5. But now, despite everything, much like Palpatine returning in that god-awful Star Wars trilogy, BuzzFeed has returned and made some incredibly stupid choices. Now, okay, all right, to be real for a second, BuzzFeed didn't go anywhere, but over the years, people have cared less and less about the platform. So why am I talking about BuzzFeed basically 7 years after my last video talking about them? Because they suck. They have made possibly the worst decision imaginable. They were asking an artist to submit everything that they were doing through AI. There's an animated web series on YouTube called Chicken Nugget, and this series was created by Kyra Kopetsky, who also voiced one of the main characters. Now, I've seen the discourse online about the Chicken Nugget YouTube channel and some of the humor. Some people find it loving and endearing. Other people despise it and they just think it's, you know, cringe-inducing. It's like too wholesome chungus. But at the same time, I think a lot of people that are hating on it, they are so irony poisoned that they're not going to laugh at anything unless they're scrolling on Reels and they see there's a burger in Las Vegas.
I'm sorry, did he just say that his last name is...
It's in a burger.
Or some kind of meme that has 6-7 in it and it just ends with like a strobe flashing on the screen until you die of having a stroke. So the show follows these furry characters that are based off fast food items like chicken nugget, the dog, cheeseburger, the cat, ice cream, the bunny, slushy, the fox, French fly, the dragon, and Sody Pop, the panda. So again, I do have to preface here, I am not the demographic for this kind of content. So the show was created back in 2020 by Kyra under the BuzzFeed Animation Lab. And it started out as this short form web series, which was actually premiered on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and then it blew up, gathering tens of millions of views, even apparently getting its own film theory episode from MatPat. Now, the show really took off when they started posting, and you can guess what it is, short form content, especially on YouTube Shorts. And this led to a deal between BuzzFeed and Frederator, which is the studio behind Fairly Odd Parents, Adventure Time, loads of other massive shows, and they wanted to adapt it into a long form series. No idea how they were going to do that, but the offer was there. Since then, the show has been steadily growing up until a few days ago where Kyra, the creator, announced that she was leaving the show, basically announcing that she can't stay with the show anymore and she has to leave because BuzzFeed is going to be requiring that Chicken Nugget, the show, is fed into AI for a project. This is despite the entire team taking a huge stance against it. She's obviously very against AI, so that's the reason why she's leaving. And I could not imagine anything worse than you have this pet project. Again, Chicken Nugget with the characters like French Fry and Big Chungus, you know. It's like, the show does not appeal to me, okay? I'm not trying to defend the show at all. But imagine having this passion project that you grew, you fostered, you designed into something that you're happy with, only to then get a big contract from a company, and then they go, yeah, so we're going to take your thing and we're going to put it in the AI slot machine right behind us, and we're just going to churn it out, like, constantly. We're talking, like, rigging with AI so they'll move on their own, lip syncing with AI. It'll probably be inaccurate like 80% of the time, but that means we get to fire like 5 people who could have animated that. She thanks the fans for the support, the cast and the crew, and again, it just shows like this is another dumbass decision from BuzzFeed. And then to make things even worse, apparently after a post, BuzzFeed started mass deleting her tweets talking about this. Like, her original statement now is just completely gone, and then she posted another follow-up that's also been deleted. So she says that AI is actually not being used in any of the episodes online, and it never has been, and then none of the episodes that are coming out after she leaves will include AI. And apparently the AI isn't being used in the Chicken Nugget series, but another project that none of them are actually allowed to talk about because they signed an NDA. She even says that no one on the BuzzFeed animation team actually wants this AI to go through. It's probably just a thing with the higher ups, again, trying to cut costs down. Oh, those animators, they cost too much money. I mean, I could draw it myself, but I simply can't draw. Oh, so what I'll do is I'll get an AI program to do it for me. I'll just type some prompts in. Easy. It's as simple as that. Now we can let go of 20 or so very talented animators. She also goes on to say that she'll answer any questions regarding the AI stuff on the account as long as she has access to it. So it's probably a matter of time before she gets booted out of there as well. Now, thankfully, there does seem to be an actual silver lining to this story because she did tweet out that she's currently in an open discussion with BuzzFeed. I'm sure there'll be some kind of blood sacrifice or something, but maybe there's a resolution where they don't turn a series into AI slop. But again, it just shows BuzzFeed taking L after L. I do not understand how that company is still standing. I mean, I take that back, actually. I can definitely see why BuzzFeed is still standing with such amazing articles like, here's some things you can do before you turn 30. I should follow a lot of these because I'm 28 now. I'm going to be 29 soon. It's basically fucking over for me. Oh, look at all these relatable gifts, man. That's so cool. All right, let's have a look. What have I done? Fall in love, yes. Get your heart broken, no. Travel solo, yes. Travel with friends, yes. Quit your job. I never had a job. I do YouTube. Get fired from your job. How'd you get fired from YouTube? Unless your account gets banned. Go to therapy, yes. Go to a dentist, yes. How are these the same? How are these the same? One of them is like one of them is basic hygiene. Get dumped, no. Break someone's heart, no. Live with a roommate, no. Start a hobby, yes. Learn a new language. I can speak like 3 words of Swedish, yes. Pull an all-nighter, yes. Finish 100 books. Okay, I'm gonna count reading tweets or like Instagram descriptions as a book, okay? Especially if they're twit longer, so I'm ticking that. Donate to charity, yes. Lose your virginity, yes. Go to a protest. No, but I've watched some, so that counts. Have a one-night stand, no. Get back with your ex, no. Be the last one at the bar. Are the blue ones positive, the red negative? Nah, no way. This is the most vapid list. I was gonna go through the entire thing for a bit, but I actually can't be asked. Like what do we have here? Smoke a cigarette. Oh my god. Crack your phone. Streak naked. Start a fandom. What fucking fandom are you gonna start? There's too many enough as it is. Get a pet. Question your sexuality. Cry in public. How is crying public and get a library card the same thing? But I did get a library card actually, yes, so that's very true. Oh, here's a great one. 29 things only people between the ages of 28 to 32 will understand. So I'm 28 now, so this should definitely apply to me. You start reading the nutrition labels on food. Wait, okay, so like basic common sense and not just blindly picking up bright colored, fuck off, and not picking up bright colored labels is now a 28 to 35 relatable meme. What are you smoking? The thought of new furniture is really exciting. No, I mean, if you count the shoe that I got, I mean, yeah, sure, but you start caring about things that never mattered, like having a favorite detergent or using coupons. Who wrote these? Were you on crack? You've lost your ability to eat fast food without feeling like garbage. Whoever wrote this needs to speak to someone. What? So if you're 27 and you eat like an entire round of McDonald's, you're gonna feel fine and amazing afterwards. You complain about noisiness far more than you ever used to. So okay, let me get this straight. If I've got 2 neighbors piping on the bed, some rusty nail bed, and the rust is so bad, if you got like a little prick, you would basically get TB from the rust. There wouldn't be an issue with that if I was 27. I would just be like, oh, go get him, man. Lay some pipe. You got this. But as soon as I'm 28, oh, you fuck off from upstairs. Fuck off from trying to sleep. Who wrote these? This is the most pathetic attempt at being relatable I've ever. When was this wrote? Surely like 2012 or something. 2018. My God, this is just embarrassing. What did you think? Fail, LOL, cute, heart emoji, cracked heart emoji, win. Oh my God. Okay, I was feeling a little bit of fail, but then some win, but then OMG and lol. But then I was kind of what the fucking. That is absolute hell. Like I do not understand how BuzzFeed is still standing as a company. They just make like weird semi-relatable tier lists for wine moms and girls going through a breakup. I don't understand it. Now, I wanted to catch up with Cenat. I'm not really sure what's going on with him at the minute. It seems to be a very soft-launched mental breakdown. He seems to think in his head he's basically Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Not the most talented or skilled person in the group, but the one that has the most determination, the one that tries the hardest. So Kai, as you know, has basically taken a break from streaming. This now seems to have turned into him quitting streaming entirely, if you believe Twitter gimmick accounts. But unfortunately, every update he posts now, he gets clowned on. Like I said, when he took a break from streaming, people say he's quit. I don't think he's quit. I think people are just misquoting him. He started this clothing brand called Vivet or Vivet. I'm guessing it's Vivet because if anything sounds vaguely French, 5 years down the line, Kai can probably sell it to LVMH for about $50 million. So Kai then shown in one of his vlogs that he has a dedicated hate wall for motivation. Most people, YouTubers, streamers, content creators, they will get a wall of nice messages, positive messages, maybe even fan art as this reminder of like, okay, you know what? I've got people that really enjoy my content. And when I'm not in the best spot, I can use this as motivation to make me feel like valued so I can give something back to my community. Kai's done the complete opposite. He's basically just doing the equivalent of that Dark Souls 3 whip attack, the FP attack, where you just kind of keep smacking yourself on the back over and over. Now, to catch you up on the Kai Cenat lore, Mafia-thon 3 made him a disgusting amount of money. Then he uploaded a YouTube video called I Quit, where he announced he was taking a hiatus from streaming. This was a desire for him to focus on his own mental health. And then he also announced he was starting a clothing brand called Vivet. He also has this amazing logo, which says so many things and also absolutely nothing as well. It looks like the logo that an evil Templar cult would use in some kind of like Deus Ex video game or something. And then he started a secret YouTube channel called Kai's Mind, where he was documenting the progress of himself improving, like for example, learning how to read, which Rakai took the piss out of him for and started to mock him, somehow making himself look even worse than Kai Cenat in any way possible. He also had this very important, very serious business journal that he kept with him through a lot of these videos, and also to document his brand and his clothing designs and ideas about Vivet. And then he had these documentary style videos as well, you know, where you've seen the type where they film everything on like a VCR camera to make it look vintage. I think at one point Kai even filmed stuff on like his Nintendo DS. The thing is, a lot of people do that and it looks cool. I've seen people do entire vlogs on like a PSP attachment camera, and there's a really cool aesthetic. When a big YouTuber or streamer tries to do it, it does look a little bit performative. So people were basically accusing Kai of not really doing it for the love of the game, but more just for the love of the content. Now, I'm going to say something very controversial. I don't think Kai Cenat is being performative. I don't think he's smart enough to know what the word performative means. I think what's happened is he has made a disgusting amount of money through streaming, and in his early 20s, mid 20s, he's hit a bit of a ceiling. He doesn't really know what he wants to do next. He feels like, well, I can't really be doing this until I'm 40. I've got all the money I'd ever need in my entire life, but I still want something else. I want to do something different. So he's probably tried to diversify his portfolio. Does it still look pretty bad? Yeah. Like, for example, the time he went to Paris Fashion Week and he was just standing around holding his journal. There was that time where he was reading and he kept reading when the timer goes off, holding his phone up to the camera just to prove that he's a genius, apparently. There was another time where he tried to blame a stutter that he had on a ghost. If any of you have played Resident Evil Requiem, you may notice that one of the main characters, Grace Ashcroft, also has a bit of a stutter. There should be a behind-the-scenes look where she actually blames a ghost for that reason. There was also this clip that went viral, and it's almost like the internet did a complete 180. They were kind of realizing, wait a minute, are we just hating on him for the sake of it? Yeah, let's keep going. So it's him reading, and then he's eating some grapes, and then he kind of goes, ooh, sour. And like, you could just see the bitterness here. There's a fucking red circle around the dislike button, making sure to let everyone know to go and dislike it. And then the top comment is, damn, the whole internet against bro now. And then this one with 6,000 likes, dude is wearing a shirt. It like, there's definitely a tinge of self-awareness of like, okay, are we really just hating on this guy because he's trying something different? Yes. Are we going to stop? Are we going to be self-aware? No. There were other clips as well, like him apparently performatively listening to Frank Ocean while wearing like earbuds. If any of you have seen the film or read the book 1984, you may know that there's an event called the 2-minute hate, where everyone screams and gets angry at all the people on the TV that apparently ruin their life. Kai thought about that, so he created the hate wall. So he posted a video on the Kai's Mind channel called Learn to Embrace Hate, where he shows off this supposed wall of hate. Like, and the thing is, I've read some of the things on this wall. They are god tier. So, you know, it's a wall of hate. So you think it would just be the most horrible comments, right? Like people just saying you should fucking kill yourself. You're nothing. What are you doing? You had everything and you're ruining it. No, they're literally just being semi-sarcastic, taking the piss out of him. 90% of them basically start off with bro thought, bro did. Yep, there's one there. Yep, little bro wanted a documentary so bad. The fuck is the book that he has? He lugs it everywhere like a prop. Guys, Cenat had become performative final boss. Doesn't someone dress him up? This shit's so corny. The thing is, it's meant to be this wall to signify everything negative against him so he can, you know, channel it into something positive. The problem is, it looks like a fucking meme collage that you walk into if you worked at Facebook. It doesn't look serious at all. And then to do the Mortal Kombat finisher, you may know the Twitter account Vlone Predator. He was very popular for getting pictures of people saying, this is what you would look like if you were black or Chinese. He actually quote tweeted Kai's Wall of Hate saying he spent like $500 on black ink instead of switching to light mode. Oh, that's brutal. You know what I love about this generation? We are so bitter and drenched in irony that we do come up with the best insults. It's actually insane. You spent like $500 on black ink. So at the minute in the vlog, and you can see in all of these vlogs, he seems to have the date put in the middle of the screen kind of obnoxiously. I guess it was some kind of creative choice he stole from an Instagram account with 10 followers. But he's in a 600-year-old villa in Italy working on his clothing brand. I guess to emulate how they make clothes like Gucci, because Gucci stuff comes from Italy, or at least they claim it does. There were definitely some more honorable mentions on that wall of hate as well that I have to go over them. I already know the shit he making I can find on Depop for half the price. Dog, I hate when content creators hype up their merch as this break from tradition, breaking boundaries of society. And it's the same fuck-ass industry standard hoodies with this shit and minimal effort designs. Now that is a very true and base take, he says as he takes the hoodie out of his wardrobe that probably says essentials in all capitals on the back of it.
Welcome to Things I Hate, episode 1.
Gentlemen, I have some bad news. Another Mr. Beast situation that is sad or insane has hit the tower. Now, you may have seen the headlines a couple of days ago that there was a Mr. Beast employee who was accused of insider trading. And at the time, it is reported that he was fined $20,000 and that Beast Industries would be launching their own investigation. Well, today, the update is he has been officially fired. Unlucky. Now, the platform that the editor was betting on was called Kalshi, which you might have heard of. It's basically a competitor to other places like Polymarket. It's a prediction market platform. Like, for example, am I going to play Dark Souls 3? And when I get invaded, will a blue phantom appear? If you just said no because the servers are so busted and that mechanic never worked anyway, you just won $10,000. Now, these markets have exploded in popularity, especially in America, because it's basically a sort of legal loophole to be able to skirt around the country's very strict gambling laws. Technically, it's not gambling. It's simply buying and selling contracts based on specific events will happen. And Kalshi operates as a designated contract market rather than a specific casino or gambling website. So it's basically like picking up a contract as Agent 47 or something, I assume. And because of this, the site allows you to bet on basically anything. This is election outcomes, the economy, the Oscars, the weather. Like, I'm looking at the market right now, and you've got the United States Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright, and they're basically betting, what is he going to say during his next conference? Is he going to say the word Venezuela, China/Russia, or is he going to say Trump 3 times? Now, some of these markets are just actual memes. Like, for example, you can bet if Jesus Christ is going to return before 2027. Apparently, at the minute, there's a 4% chance that this could happen. Now, the people behind these platforms claim that their predictions are incredibly accurate and then actually defend it on the basis that it's similar to the stock market. The US, where sports betting is completely illegal, people are now actually free to bet on Kalshi. And one funny little side note, I'm obviously in Australia at the minute. Gambling here is very strange. Australia, surprisingly, has the most recorded gambling losses in the entire world. It is chronically bad over here. I remember being in the UK and you'd see, you know, adverts for lottery or bingo or, you know, just what, you know, something with like a gambling aspect. And there'd always be a little kind of blurb at the bottom that would say, gamble aware. When the fun stops, maybe you should stop. Here in Australia, ads, I know I've made this point before, but they're terrifying. You'll see a bunch of friends that are like happy, you know, they're just going out. They might be, you know, going to the slot machines or the bookies or the pokies or whatever Australia Australian buzzword or slang there is. And then it'll say, black background, big white font, you will die. If you gamble, you'll get AIDS. And then I'll kill your family. I do like in the UK, though, it really is, if the fun stops, stop. And then in Australia, it's like, if you gamble again, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to break your legs. I'm going to start off by breaking I'm going to break off your toes, each toe with a hatchet. I'm going to make sure your wife watches while I sever off your tendons. That's what happens if you make a bet. The problem with these betting sites is being able to bet on anything and everything. There's so many more people now that have the ability to access information that could qualify as insider trading, which is exactly the situation that the Mr. Beast editor, or I guess ex-Mr. Beast editor, found himself in. Kashi accused the editor of having non-public information that he obtained through working for Mr. Beast, which he then used to trade around $4,000 on markets related to Mr. Beast. They said that his near perfect activity was flagged by the systems as statistically anonymous, which basically means, wait, no, you're meant to lose and give us money. Why is he winning money? Oh, that's bad. Don't you like how fucking evil that is, by the way? Like, even if this guy was insider trading, he only got flagged because he was doing too good. It's the same as casinos. You go in there, you could lose, like, everything. They'll never tell you to stop. They might give you some little warning, but they'll never, like, grab you and be like, you've got a problem, you need to stop. No, they'll fucking drain you, but you win too much at a casino? We don't want your business here, sorry. No, no, we only like people that give us money. We don't like people that actually win it back. That's quite bad. And they're allowed to do that. They can keep draining your account, but they're allowed to deny you anytime. How fucked is that? And as a result for this statistical anomaly, which is a very weird techno-savvy way of saying he won too much, he was fined $20,000 and was banned from the platform for 2 years. I do like that. It wasn't even a permanent ban. It was like, I mean, he could come back as long as he loses. And a spokesperson for Beast Industries, yes, Mr. Beast has that much money, he has a spokesperson, told BBC News, and I love BBC. That didn't come out right. I meant to say I love the BBC. No, that that doesn't make it any better. That doesn't make it any better. I love the BBC. If anything, if you say I love the BBC, that sounds even worse than saying I love BBC. But anyway, Beast Industries told the BBC it has no tolerance for this behavior, whether by contestants or its own employees. And the company claims that it's got a strict stance against abusive behavior. Whatever, I can just put Mr. Beast in the fucking title. I don't care.
I'm all out of money!
PlayStation. I love to talk about PlayStation. Notice, whenever there's a break-in and people try to steal a PlayStation, they steal the controller and never any games. Or they try to steal the console and never any games. So over the past few months, people are noticing that on the PlayStation Store, some of the prices of games seem to be fluctuating. They're different for different people. Some people are paying less, but then other people are actually paying more money. Like this person who noticed that the price of Assassin's Creed Unity became more expensive when they logged into their account. And there was a person on Reddit who actually found out the price of Red Dead Redemption 2 was lower on his wife's account, even though they were in the same region, on the same console, and on the same currency. Well, it seems because Sony has just completely ran out of ideas at this point, and instead of making a game, they're doing this idea of testing dynamic pricing on the PlayStation Store. Dynamic pricing is basically when companies try to adjust their prices in real time instead of, you know, when the market changes, I don't know, like maybe at the end of a week or the end of a month. This is to do with everything: supply, demand, competitor pricing. Like, for example, in a situation where, God forbid, Xbox release a game, PlayStation might actually have to lower the price of theirs as competition. That's never going to fucking happen, though. So Sony's completely fine. Could you imagine, though, in current year, we're basically at the threshold where it's like Microsoft threatened to release a game. There are loads of other places that already use dynamic pricing. One of the most scummiest ones imaginable is airline tickets. I'm sure you've seen time and time again, whenever you go to book a ticket, if you want to get a flight, as soon as you're about to pay, the price suddenly jumps up like 10, maybe even 20%. Hotel rooms, Uber, for example, that can have huge price surges at random points throughout the day, especially during rush hour. And of course, our best friend, AI, is probably going to be used here to dynamically track each customer's behavior behavior to then use that to calculate a price. Now, if you're American, you might remember back in 2024, Wendy's announced they had this plan to basically roll out digital menu boards to support dynamic pricing. So you'd basically go into a Wendy's and it would just be like the fucking stock market. And this backfired so much that Wendy's actually had to break character on their gimmick account and put out a statement saying, okay, guys, we're sorry. We got no plans for it. You know, we were just toying with the idea. It's not like we were going to do it. And then we realized you guys wouldn't eat our burgers. There's been a lot of other companies that have been under fire for this as well. Like, for example, Instacart, they were actually discovered to be pricing their grocery at the same store at wildly different prices for different customers. Like, for example, some people were paying for the same jar of peanut butter, but one person had to pay 23% more than the other. You've got Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh, Kroger. They all have rolled out these digital price tags, which allow them to change the price of their food at any time. And Walmart is even planning to add them to all of their US stores. So great. Living now, basically doing your grocery shopping, it is going to become the stock market. Oh, I couldn't go out today and get some food for my family. The market's looking quite bullish at the minute. It's not even just grocery stores as well. This seems to be infecting everything. You've got children's museums, zoos, aquariums, science centers, all through this dynamic payment software called DiggerNex. And it seems that Sony were the latest to try out this dynamic pricing, hoping that no one would notice. But there was a website called PS Prices, and they actually track the cost of games across the internet, and they discovered back in November that Sony was A/B testing the prices of games. Now, this A/B testing is actually really popular at the minute. You might notice a lot of YouTubers that you watch, they quickly are like panic changing their titles and their thumbnails. They're actually not. The A/B testing has rolled out onto YouTube as well, where we can, you know, test up to 3 different titles and 3 different thumbnails. And then YouTube actually tells us at the end which one people chose to click on the most, and will then set it to that one by default. And they found out that the program was doing this across 17 games in 42 regions. Notice how they have more regions than games. Very curious. And then Sony said that they're expanding this to over 138 games in 68 regions. I don't think they have 138 games yet, but they probably will in the future. And they're even testing this on their first party games like God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Part 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2. And these are all really good games. Like in God of War Ragnarok, you carried a pig around for a little bit. In The Last of Us 2, you didn't even play as the main character for half of it. And in Marvel Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man gets bodied by a fridge.
I am the spy.
So, in some more heartwarming news for you to hear, because I know you guys love hearing good news, apparently, Arc Raiders, very famous game for streamers, was unknowingly saving your private Discord messages during gameplay. So, the person who discovered this was Timothy Meadows, who detailed his findings in a blog post titled Arc Raiders Discord SDK Data Exposure, which, again, you should probably read yourself if you're interested in finding out how this works. But there's a basic summary that during gameplay of Arc Raiders, private Discord messages, DMs, the conversations between 2 people were being written in plain text in a local game log file. So obviously, if you play Arc Raiders and you have Discord, this is a little bit worrying. Apparently, this text was written to disk, and that these logs could actually be sent in crash reports. That means that third parties with access to the PC or the crash reports can read your private conversations. Now, if you're panicking right now, you're trying to refund your Discord Nitro and tell your Discord kitten to delete all the pictures of her feet. I totally understand that, but this was only an issue for users who had their Discord linked to Arc Raiders, not just playing the game and then having Discord. And then the Arc Raiders devs caught wind of this, and they coped basically saying, well, it never left your machine. Notice how, like, when there was like ID verification for Discord and stuff, they said the exact same thing, that this stuff and these details never leave your machine. Now, they did say that they were going to disable this process and look into it deeper to see what the actual issue could be. There was also a Discord spokesperson, which is probably one of the worst jobs you could ever have in the entire world. And they released this statement, basically acknowledging that some players' Discord information was being stored locally on their device, but saying basically not to worry. What you probably should worry about is screaming slurs in voice proximity chat. And so I would like to end this saga by bringing you some good news to uplift your day. Dexerto, Gaming Journalist Network. They didn't have any news to tweet about for about 5 minutes. So they tweeted out Queso saying that he might get a haircut. That's it. Genuinely, that's it.
It is so annoying. Bro, I'm not getting my hair cut all the way off. I'm just getting it trimmed. It's ridiculous. I have to constantly push it back out of my eyes, dude. It's annoying. Dude, if you ever had long hair before, you know how annoying it is.
I'm gonna be honest, chat. I think I'm gonna get my hair cut. Yo, Lucy, thank you for the 5 gifted. Appreciate you. Yeah, I might get it cut, chat. I mean, I don't swear, though. I just say, oh my goodness, chat. Dude, if I get a bad haircut, I might swear. No, I won't swear. No, I wouldn't swear. But I might say, oh my gosh, chat.
You may also have noticed that my hair looks absolutely disgusting. It is greasy and it looks like a rat has died on it. I'm actually getting it cut tomorrow, as Denzel Washington said in that film where he was doing a hearing as an alcoholic. God help me.